Someone asked me recently to do a little bit of a rundown of my live setup, so here it is. Now, I use a standard 4-piece kit generally with the addition of a timbale. The timbale is the only drum that isn't mic'd in any way, generally because it's loud enough as it is, and I'm not hitting it all the time either. So the snare drum I mic externally in the traditional sense. The bass drum I mic internally, and the mic's basically just permanently in there, and that is also using one of these, which is the Kelly Shoe system. This drum is the 12. I also use the 16 as well. Now, miking internally is not a new idea. It's been around for decades. Randy May was kind of the guy that pioneered, well, you know, I don't know if he pioneered it, but he certainly made one of the first, if not the first, system for miking drums internally that I'm aware of. And his system, even today, is ideally actually is something I probably would have liked to have done in terms of you know, here and stuff, because I am not very good at soldering things, but as you can see, that's basically permanently mounted to the cable, and the bottom of the cable is attached to the mic via one of these, which is a right-angled XLR adapter, and I basically took the end off and resoldered it, and much to my surprise and amazement, it actually worked. But the system itself, you're not really supposed to be using, well, as far as I'm aware, you're not really supposed to be using Kelly Shoe systems to mic internally, or mic toms internally. It is an acquired sound. It is a little bit more muffled. You don't quite get the level of attack that you would necessarily get if you're mounting in the traditional sense externally. But for the sake of using my in-ear system, which I use, and for the sake of convenience as well, and this is actually really convenient for me the way I have this all set up. But just for now, I'll do the drums and I'll do the live setup, the monitor setup and everything on a different video. But as you can see, anyway, it's the Kelly Shoe. I've got mounted on 4 points. I found it basically was easier to string it through all as one, and then basically sort of reattach it around the same point where it starts. Normally on a Kelly Shoe system you'd have you know, sort of attaching there, attaching there, attaching there, attaching there. But obviously the way the system works is that these can only be a certain length, and there was no way to basically have it short enough to be able to fit like that. So this was the easiest way of doing it that I could basically work out. There's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches clearance on the bottom of the microphone, sort of about that, so that doesn't touch there. And I've also got probably, I know, 3 inches or so, 2.5, 3 inches clearance between the microphone and the head as well. Now, I found that having the microphone too near to the head and pointed inwards basically caused a little bit of redlining, which wasn't that helpful. It took a little bit of trial and error. Normally you would have the microphone on a tom, you would probably have, or certainly on a 12-inch tom, you would probably have it pointing into the center of the drum, so you get a bit more of the attack. I kind of didn't feel that I needed the attack, because when I'm actually playing live with my band, I've got 6 hot mics generally in proximity to me, which is kind of picking up the kit anyway. I mean, I'm not a soft player, I'm not a hard player either, but 6 hot mics generally on any one time, they're going to pick me up anyway. So there's going to be a certain level of attack coming from the top of the kit anyway, that's just going to be picked up ambiently. So this is as much for my in-ears as it is to give a little bit more body and presence to the kit overall. So the reason I've got it pointing outwards, as I said, is really to stop the mic blowing or redlining, really, in terms of too much gain. And I just wanted to be able to have enough gain to not basically cause it to, well, blow. So and I kind of like a little bit more of a rounded sort of tone anyway, so having it pointing outwards like you might necessarily more do on a floor tom perhaps, so you get a little bit more of the rounded sound rather than the attack, it works fine for me. So just finally, this basically goes into the case like this on top of the drum. So literally setting this up takes me a matter of seconds rather than anything else, and I don't have to mess around with you know, anything. And it's just proven in the sort of 5-6 months I've been using this, it's proven to basically take no time whatsoever to set up. So I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. And this is the 16. Obviously this is actually been set up more in a slightly more traditional sense with regards to the mounting. As you can see there, it's actually on a 3-point mount rather than a 4-point mount, but there's a little bit of flex, but it's still perfectly stable. I've not had any problems with it. And the microphones are both Audix. This is a D4 and the other one's a D2. The D4 I think is intended for slightly larger drums. Normally on a floor tom I'd actually mount a bass drum mic, but I kind of need the bass drum mics that I've got to be more accessible than this one. Obviously this just basically stays in the drum and I use it whenever I use the kit. So, but anyway, watch out for the second part of the video where I will explain my monitor setup and basically how all this goes into that mixer.